Identifying the suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Fresh is the 2022 horror movie directed by Mimi Cave, and it stars Daisy Edgar Jones, Sebastian Stan and Jojo T. Gibbs. Hi guys, my name's Barry and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a movie review for the movie Fresh. Now there is going to be semi-spoilers in this review, and when I say semi-spoilers, I mean I'm not going to spoil the movie from what you've not already saw in the trailers. If you have saw the trailers, then this review is not really spoiled for you. If you haven't saw the trailers, then maybe don't watch this review. The horrors of modern dating seen through one young woman's defiant battle to survive her new boyfriend's unusual appetites. Now firstly, I had heard nothing about this movie. I only heard about it when I saw the trailer for it the day that I saw the movie. I saw the trailer and I immediately went to watch the movie because the trailer looked so intriguing, and that's why I'm saying this might be a semi-spoiler review for you guys, because what you see in the trailer is what you come to expect in the movie, whereas if I didn't see the trailer at all, I maybe would have been a little bit more surprised than I was if I hadn't saw it. The story revolves around a girl called Noah she's in the online dating game. She's trying to find someone online. It's not quite working for her, and one day she just happens to go out into the shops, and she's in the fruit and veg section of all places and meets a guy called Steve who he seems quite charming, and they hit it off in this fresh fruit section right next to the fresh meat section, and they exchange numbers, and that's how they become kind of friendly with each other, and they go on a couple of dates till eventually Noah really likes Steve. Steve seems like he really likes Noah as well, and I think that's where things take a turn for the worst. The whole concept of the story is frightening enough. You've got this girl who meets this guy who seems like a friendly guy, and he turns out to be a complete psychopath. Now that sounds very familiar. We see that in hundreds of movies, but there's something about this movie that steps away from your typical boyfriend becomes psycho. It becomes a little bit more nightmarish than that. We find out that Steve is this human meat trader. He seduces, he becomes a boyfriend of these people. He then takes their meat and he sells it. So he's kind of the middleman for the people at the top end who are buying these meats for $30,000 a piece, even more than that depending on what it is that they're buying. But Steve is that middleman. The only issue with Noah is she seems to be different from the rest of the girls that Steve takes in. He seems to have a liking for her. He slept with her like he didn't do with the rest of these girls. So there's something about Noah that he likes, and she has to take advantage of that. Now there is a deeper connection throughout the whole entire movie, because we find out that Steve's wife is part of this plan to take these girls and sell the meat, but Steve's wife only has one leg. They don't go into the whole story about what happened to her, but I think we can guess what happened. She seems to be one of his victims back in the past, and he fell for her as well and saved her because she's got one leg. So the same thing's happening with Noah. Now that's what I like about this film, because they don't force feed us the story. Some parts of the story are drip fed to us and we put the connections together ourselves, so it's a very smart script. The same goes with the set design in this film. Very smartly done. No need for over explanation like they didn't do with the story. They didn't have to over explain the story. You've got these girls who are locked up in this almost like a cattle room. You've got the kind of cattle doors, as if they're getting taken away to the slaughter. They're in their like a slaughterhouse environment without telling you it's a slaughterhouse, and each of them have got their own rooms, etc. So it's almost like we're looking at a human slaughterhouse. After we quickly find out Steve's plan for these girls and for Noah especially, we then have not a change in script, but a story where it's a race against time. You've got Molly, who is Noah's best friend. She's got a race against time to find out what happened to Noah. Where is she? She's disappeared for over a week. And at the same time, we've got Noah now. She's sitting in this sort of Stockholm Syndrome style storyline, but it seems to be like a reverse Stockholm Syndrome, where Noah is trying to manipulate Steve because she knows that she's special and she knows that Steve may fall for that. I think the acting was fantastic, especially from Steve and Noah. Those obviously were the two standouts. The cinematography was like a nightmare, and I don't mean in a bad way, I mean in this beautiful, scary nightmare that we felt that we were in. It was bizarre. I'm obviously not going to tell you what happens at the end of the movie because that would be a spoiler. But one thing I can say about the ending was it was batshit crazy. I know we're only into March now, guys, but I think Fresh is the most surprising movie of the year so far. I loved it. If I had to nitpick or give some sort of negative for this movie, it's probably the male representation. Now, I'm a male, so I didn't take offence to it, but it just seems like the male representation was really bad in this one. You've got a sex pest at the beginning of the movie sending dick pics. I know that's probably common. I don't do it. You've got an old man that's putting his tongue in a milk carton. You could have easily made that a woman, but they made that a man. You've got Chad at the beginning, who was a horrible online date. And again, a female could be just as horrible, but obviously male representation. You've got Steve, who's the bad guy, who is a male. You've got a bartender who seemed like he was going to be a good guy. He's friends with Molly, and he went to help Molly because he didn't know where she was, and he ended up running away because he had a gunshot. He's like, no, fuck this, I'm out of here. And then you get Chad again. You don't see him again, but he sends a text message to Noah at the end of the movie saying, you up? So obviously he's looking for some sex probably. So I think the moral of the story is never trust a man to help. Always leave it to the females to save themselves or just get out of this pickle that they're in. Are men really that bad? Don't answer that. Anyway guys, if you've seen this movie, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. And were you like me? Was this a massive surprise to you? As always guys, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.